Hello, Tiffany Boyd here with Free Your Children. I hope everyone is staying warm and having a wonderful evening. I wanted to give you a legislative update on the Free Act, so I'm going to give everyone time to join us. Let me know as you join on in the comments below. So exciting developments with our bill. If you are in Tennessee, you may have heard of the Free Act. And we have an exciting announcement as of today. We actually have a date for our bill to be in the first committee. It is going to be in the Senate committee on March 5th. That's the Senate Education Committee on March the 5th at 3 p.m. I'm going to let you take a look here at this graphic so you can see who we have on the Senate Education Committee. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to reach out to all of the members of the committee, ask them to vote yes on the Free Act, send them emails, telephone calls, and if you are local to the Middle Tennessee area where it's close enough for you to join us at the Capitol, I highly encourage you to do that at Cordell Hall, where their offices are located. Call them, make appointments, go in and ask them to vote yes for the bill, for the Free Act. Again, here's your Senate Education Committee. I have another bill that I want to talk about briefly before I get off here tonight. But these are your senators that will be voting on the Free Act on March the 5th at 3 p.m. So again, if you are in the area, we ask that, or even if you can make it, if you're not in the area but you would like to join us, we would love to have you do just that. We need as many homeschool families, and you don't even necessarily have to be a homeschool family. If you believe in freedom and you believe in autonomy for parents in terms of education and being allowed to educate their children as they see fit, we highly encourage you to join us on March the 5th. I will be issuing a call to action that will be going out in our newsletter. It will also be going out on Facebook and on our other social media platforms. Please share that with as many people as you can. Encourage them to come. It's also a good idea for everyone to dress the same. So, of course, we will be in our hunter safety orange. If you have seen us out and about in public, or you are watching us on social media, you have likely seen our caution orange or safety orange Free Your Children shirts. There is a link where you can purchase those shirts if you would like one. It won't be here in time for March the 5th, but I'm certain that you will be needing it in the future if you are a freedom-minded individual that likes to keep up with legislation and likes to exercise your right to be a part of the political process. It will come in handy in the future. But for March the 5th, if you do not already have a Free Your Children shirt, please wear a bright orange hunter safety colored shirt to the committee meetings. It just gives our legislators a really good visual and lets them see how many people are standing in solidarity for this particular bill and for true parental educational freedom in the state of Tennessee. I do want to take the time to thank one of our sponsors that was just added on today, I believe. So special thank you to Representative Barrett for co-sponsoring the Free Act. We are excited to see co-sponsors being added onto this bill. It really sends a clear picture that we do have senators and representatives in the state of Tennessee that truly do believe in real educational freedom, the kind that isn't attached to government monies, and the kind that will be true school choice for the state of Tennessee. So again, we will be in the Senate Education Committee, March the 5th at 3 p.m. We need every single homeschooler and every single person, no matter if you're a homeschooler or not, that believes that we need this in Tennessee to show up on that day at that time. Make sure you get there in plenty of time to navigate the parking in Nashville, and give yourself time to navigate, to be able to be positioned at Cordell Hall, because that is where this committee meeting will be. And we need you there March the 5th. Yes, I realize that it is inconvenient. It's expensive coming to Nashville. There's gas, there are parking, but this is very important. And there's a reason why we all need to be here for this particular piece of legislation. This is historic. This is historic for the state of Tennessee. It's historic for our nation. Bring your kids. This is a wonderful learning opportunity for them, and an opportunity for them to see how the legislative process not only works, but to take part in that as well. I cannot express enough how we need to fill those committee rooms. We should have hundreds and hundreds of families show up on March 5th as the FREE Act starts to move through the legislature. So again, mark your calendars. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message. I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. And again, if you are local, if you need a ride, I encourage you also to start organizing carpools so that many families, have an opportunity to go up together, split the cost of the parking, split the cost of gas. That's another, really helpful tip when you're navigating Nashville and all the things that come along with having to come to the Capitol to exercise your rights here in our great state of Tennessee. So again, I just want to encourage you to show up. I cannot highlight that enough, how important it is for us to show up in large numbers as a community standing together. So again, if you have not already, please contact these particular senators on the Education Committee. Ask them to vote yes for the FREE Act. Send emails, make phone calls, and then again, show up in person. We need as many as possible to be there with us on March the 5th. Also, I'm trying to look to see if I have any questions. We were at Cordell Hall today. It was cold, really, really, really cold outside today, but we navigated the weather and the icy sidewalks to have an opportunity to get there and go into the offices of some of our legislators to explain to them what the bill was and what we were hoping to accomplish in Tennessee. We will be back again next week doing the exact same thing we've been doing now. We were there last week, we were there this week, and we will be there again until the bill makes it to the committee, and then we will be a presence there as long as it takes to be able to make sure that our parental and educational rights are recognized in the state of Tennessee. So I think that I want everyone to understand right up front that every legislative season or session, we are only one legislative session away from losing our freedoms. So this is not a one and done fight. This will be something that we will continue to fight for as long as we are able, because we know that we're seeing this across the nation. I just submitted an article, my monthly article, to the Borough Pulse, the Murfreesboro Pulse last night. And what I did in this particular piece for this upcoming month is to highlight how homeschooling rights and parental rights are being encroached upon all across the United States right now, as we're doing this live stream right now. And we're watching things unfold. And I think that if you are not engaged in what's going on, I would highly encourage you to get engaged. There are a lot of problems nationwide when we're talking about, again, parental rights, constitutional rights, and homeschool rights. And I urge you to get plugged in and pay attention, because we have to stay alert and we have to stay proactive. It's too late once our rights are already being encroached on. So we have to make sure that we are doing what we need to do now and taking a proactive stance to make sure that our rights remain recognized, and that we are, even more of our rights are recognized. And that's the reason why the FREE Act was drafted to begin with. And we hope that our state of Tennessee will pass this bill and that we will have a much better state to homeschool in. And so that's our hope for this piece of legislation. So again, if you have questions, I'm not seeing any come through, but I'm trying to do multiple things here. So if I'm missing any, I apologize. Again, if you have a question, just send it to me and I'll do my best to answer it. I also have been receiving a lot of messages about another bill that is moving through the legislative process, and that particular bill is House Bill 106. And if you haven't read it, I encourage you to do so. I printed it out right here. It's 11 pages long. And it said it's by Lamberth. So William Lamberth is the sponsor of this House Bill 106. And the caption, rarely ever gives a good synopsis of the language that's actually in the bill. So I think that some people may have been alerted to this bill and started making some phone calls, but it was somewhat downplayed. And, they were told that it was not going to affect the homeschooling community. But this bill is also extremely problematic, and it deals with, what it looks like if you're just looking at it as at a glance is childcare. But I think that the concerns that many homeschoolers are having is that this could inadvertently, and I believe it will, affect co-ops and tutorials, because that is a large population of the homeschool community utilizes those services. So what this bill is talking about are if a group has 5 unrelated children under your care for more than 3 hours, it is going to require a child care license to be obtained. And then it goes on to talk about how, and of course, that would affect co-ops, like I said, and tutorials, because, we know that those are comprised of far more than 5 or more children that are unrelated potentially within the homeschool community, because some of these groups are really, really large. What it also does is it does allow for education exemptions, but under this particular bill, those exemptions, the children cannot be gathering any longer than 3 hours a day and no more than 15 hours a week. So some of the concerns that were sent, to me by multiple different people that had alerted us to this bill, and we are watching multiple pieces of legislation that we know that are problematic. Obviously, right now, our primary focus has been the FREE Act, because that's the piece of legislation that we drafted in order to carve out a separate and distinct homeschooling category that will not be eligible for government funding in Tennessee. And so that is our priority right now. But these bills are also priorities as well. It just takes a lot of manpower and a lot of time to track all of this legislation and keep a close eye on it. So again, this one was brought to my attention by numerous people. And so the concerns here were the fact that it would add several concerning rules and restrictions to those seeking an education exemption that would need to be followed to receive said exemption from child care licensing rules. So it goes on to list in the 11 pages what this looks like, but you need to know that it says that the program, again, is to operate no longer than 3 hours per day, not to exceed 15 hours per week, unless the children are accompanied by the parent or other custodian. Custodian is not defined. The program is registered with the department and has received written approval to operate prior to offering the services. Under current law, there is no mention of registration or approval. However, most of the other exemptions currently require registration in this new bill. All of the language has changed from registration to receive prior written approval. The program maintains records that include dates and times of each child's attendance and the telephone numbers of persons to contact in the event of an emergency. And those records are made available during regular business hours to the department. This language has been added to all exemption categories. That's also problematic. So if this bill is passed, tutorials and co-ops that have drop-off programs longer than 3 hours a day and more than 15 hours per week would no longer be able to operate. Other things that are very concerning is there is a category for recreational activities in this bill. that I pulled and read about. So it talks about how children would be allowed to participate in this for 7 hours a day, up to 120 days out of the year. And so, that could have potentially maybe been, a workaround for some of these co-ops or tutorials, but they took care of that by adding new language to the recreational category that requires that the specific recreation activity be offered for at least 75% of the hours of operation. So, in order for this to, be able to happen for those co-ops or tutorials, that would mean that specific co-op or tutorial would have to specifically focus on whatever recreation it is that they would be offering. And it also adds the words that the staff must possess specialized qualifications directly related to that recreation. So this is a very concerning piece of legislation for the state of Tennessee that will have far-reaching implications for the homeschool community. So if you have a homeschool child that is currently participating in a co-op or a tutorial, or if you are the founder or the director of a co-op or tutorial, you need to be watching House Bill 106 closely. You need to be contacting your legislators. I think if we're looking right here, you can see it on the screen. It is placed on the calendar Health Committee for 2/25/25. So go ahead and start contacting those representatives that are on the Health Committee and tell them to vote no on HB 106. This is also Senate Bill 1288. And this is Senator Johnson is sponsoring this bill on the Senate side. So it was placed on the Senate Health and Welfare Committee calendar for 2/26. So go and find your legislators that are on those respective committees and start contacting them and asking them to vote no on this particular piece of legislation. Now, back to the FREE Act, because I want to leave here on a positive note tonight. Again, this is headed to the Senate Education Committee on March the 5th at 3 p.m. We need residents all across the state of Tennessee to show up and make sure you are there in the committee as this, moves through the process. Contact your legislators that are on the Senate Education Committee and ask them to vote yes on the FREE Act. Send emails, make phone calls, and most importantly, we need as many people as possible to show up. Please share this live stream. If you are a homeschool family in the state of Tennessee, start contacting your homeschool groups. Have them do the same. Have them share this information. Again, if they would like to reach out to me, if they have questions, I would be more than happy to answer those. So again, I hope everyone is staying warm. We are working hard, making trips to the Capitol. I also ask you to consider, donating to Free Your Children so that we have the funds to make all these trips to the Capitol and to continue doing the work that we do and are doing in order to help better protect your parental, constitutional, and educational rights in the state of Tennessee. This legislative session, there are many very concerning bills that are, that have already been filed, again, that we are watching, and I will be bringing those to your attention as quickly as possible. If you see something that you are concerned about or have a question about, please feel free again to reach out to me and I will answer it and get back to you as quickly as possible. So I hope I covered everything. I'm trying to watch my phone over here to see if I'm getting any questions regarding anything that I have covered. If you do not know, if you need emails to your representatives, check out our website, freeyourchildren.com. On the website, there's a list of all of the senators and representatives in the state of Tennessee. You can find their contact information there. If you do not know how to navigate the Tennessee General Assembly website and have questions on how to do that, we'll be happy to help you with that as well. Interesting times in the state of Tennessee, but we are excited again to be part of this historic legislation, which is the FREE Act, and we're hoping that Tennessee will pass this bill, and once and for all, we will have true educational freedom in our state. So we ask for your prayers. If you feel inclined to pray, that this bill will be passed, and we ask for you to take action. So again, contact your legislators, and we hope to see you all there on March the 5th at 3 p.m. in Cordell Hall for the Senate Education Committee. I hope you all have a great night, and thank you for tuning in.